Welcome, everybody, to our True Self Talk right after our Connect with Your True Self energy session. My name is Jona Bryndis, and I want to send out a big welcome to all of you. This was a big session again. Our co-facilitators, those are the ones that helped me with doing the energy work here during the True Self session, reading out your energy fields and the overall resonances that were going through us here in this session. And I would love to involve you guys as well. We're going to ask questions. We're going to comment on your personal energy if you want us to. And yeah, I have Gosha,
Hello,
Abigail,
everyone.
Becky. I have you guys
Hi,
here. Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, thank you guys for giving everyone a heads up. There are more people are still logging on. So, yes, I see you. So, this True Self session, and I want to say up front here that every True Self session is different. We have a different composition of people. Those are people that we don't know. They come from all over the world. So, you guys are all coming from different time zones, from different backgrounds, and so forth. And we are reading out the energy that happens when we come together and when we go into this heart brain coherence here, 1 hour, just really focusing on connecting with our true self. And this was a very, very cool session in that regards. The mother of all true self sessions, I almost want to call this. It was really about what that feels like when we deeper connect with ourselves. And this was very, very interesting because, of course, there was a lot of different aspects that came forward here, besides the things that are in the way or that are holding us back from deeper connecting on, let's say, everyday level. We can talk about this a little bit, maybe make suggestions on how to integrate this a little more. But it was really about the process that happens when we actually take the time to feel into who we truly are. And I would love to hear from the co-facilitators real quick how you guys perceive this on your end. I tend to talk endlessly once I get going. So, how did you guys perceive the guidance here from your true self in this session?
We don't mind you talking, Yona. From my perspective, it was about identity, and like true self really has no identity. It's rather a feeling inside.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of like beliefs falling off, like who am I? How am I supposed to be? Even how am I supposed to feel? Sometimes people, get lost in that, like they don't know what to feel, how to feel. But when we connect deeper, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, this isn't that easy, right? I mean, it's so easily said. We all feel from inside out, right? Not from outside in. But there's a lot of stuff that comes up, right? I don't know if everybody felt this here as well. And I'm going to open up the microphones here in a little bit. And I'd love for you guys to just share into the mic. But Gosha, this was a very precise way of describing this. This was really about feeling it and letting go of what we think we need to be or how we need to be or what is expected of us, or well, for some of us with the stronger religious or spiritual programming, even how God or divine wants us to be. This wasn't easy. Gosh, it took like almost 25, 30 minutes, right? During the session in the beginning to just get through all this stripping off these layers of what we thought we,
Yes.
I mean, and this was very physical too. I mean, this is the part here that we always teach along with these energy sessions, is how can we tune into all these sensations that we have, and what do they mean? And is it important to see things, visually see things, or, you know, how are these things linked? And most of us here in the co-facilitator, on the co-facilitator side, we had several different clusters of sensations. And help me out here, Gosha, if I forget anything. But there was begin with like strong pressure in the sternum. That's like the solar plexus area here, the third chakra area, and you know, extended maybe a little bit to the rib cage. Then later it felt a bit like heart pain, heart
Yes, a
expansion.
bloated belly maybe,
Bloated
or
belly,
some.
big time. Yes, actually. Who of you here listening, and you can use the raise your hand function in the webinar or something. Who of you had an extended belly uh, at some point throughout the session, where like all of the sudden, you know, it felt like, whoa, there's a huge big thing happening. Yes, me too. Mine are, yes. So this is more than half of us. When this happens, guys, in general, I mean, obviously, you know, we can have some kind of digestive reaction to something that we ate. But when you do an energy session and you have very sudden and distinct energetic sensations or things happening in your body, and they go away after the session, or slowly go away after the session, it's typically linked to something that is not fully coming to an expression. And when it's the belly area, so actually, gosh, I don't know about you, but I felt this in the belly, like belly, you know, my lower digestional tract, but I also felt it in the upper one today. So like hinting at the third chakra, the identity aspect. This is where we have our willpower, but this is also the seat of our ego, and you know how we think we need to be. And this then changed throughout the session a little bit. So the second chakra, the sacral chakra area here around our belly button, the lower digestional tract, that's typically associated with unprocessed emotions, with emotions that we've absorbed, that we've, you know, sort of just stored in us, that we held in. And when it comes to us being or becoming us, truly being able to feel ourselves, there's a lot that we suppress, there's a lot that we store. And oftentimes that's not even aware to us. Like I do this every day pretty much. And I have to say that for a second I forgot about everything that I knew. And I just said to myself, okay, don't be a healer here. Just be you for a second. You know, don't be anything how other people see you or what you're expected to do. Just be you. How do you truly know that you are you? How do you feel it within yourself? And then, of course, the first layer that came up was all the things that I feel about me in conjunction with others, like the way I feel about myself through others. And then I was like, no, 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 this isn't who you truly are. This helps you to refine this. This helps you to form an identity here in this 3D, be in this 3D world, right? But when it comes to really feeling into who I am, which is not dependent on other people or circumstances, this doesn't change, it's unchanging. Where do I actually store this? Where do I actually feel this? And this is when I realized that this isn't really something about emotions, anything about emotions. This has nothing to do with my current emotional state, because I can feel me when I'm sad as well as when I'm happy, I don't feel myself less when I'm happy or when I'm sad. I do feel myself more, and that's the part that I realized during the session, when I have emotions, when I have strong emotions. And I realized there in this moment that we often define ourselves through some of this emotional drama. Like for us, aliveness comes in through strong emotions. And these strong emotions, they typically come in through interaction with others. And this is the part here, when we strip that off, what's left? What's left when we strip off our emotional processing of like whatever, what happened today, what other people said to us, or how they treated us, or how we treated them? What's left? When all that goes away, and when it's just me and me. And this is how our session started. Yes, and Denise, I see this here in your comments. Yeah, there was a lot of space suddenly. And yes, this was about authenticity. Yeah, just like Gosha just said. But what does this even mean, being an authentic self with myself, being real with myself? How does this even feel? How do I know, that I am,
On some
something?
level, on some level, it's like we do know, like it's like built within us, like even sometimes when we communicate and we know we said something we should not have, or we said something that is not according to the real me inside, like maybe not spotted right there and then, but then later when reflecting, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this.
Yeah, but this is the part here that I wanted to question, that I felt questioned in the session, and I felt like our true selves were trying to communicate to us. It's like, how do I truly feel what I am? If there was nobody there on the outside, because a lot of us had this seeking aspect, seeking and purpose and validation and projection and getting something from others, or feeling whole through others, or wanting support from others, or expecting ourselves to be in a certain way, or having some kind of distrust, like the inner dialogue went kind of like, well, I don't feel like I can be me, because let's say it's too vulnerable, or I'm afraid to embarrass myself, or I'm afraid of the reaction. But if you take all that away, if you take the reaction away, if there was nobody else but you, we had a very strong mirror, a visual coming in during the session, right? Where we looked in the mirror and this was just us. And I think, Abigail, it was you, during the session, who said, when I look in the mirror, do you want to talk into the microphone real quick? This was a very important, what happened there when you saw the mirror as well.
Yeah, when I looked in the mirror, I saw well, first of all, I saw my mother, an expression of my mother's, and then I saw expression of my sister's, and then that made me feel very uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of our, like, say, this questioning our own self, right? Or not being fully aware of it, or being self-conscious, or being insecure, comes from the outside, right? That comes exactly from that place where we are trying to get this confirmation, who we are. And when we see ourselves through the eyes of others, can we truly connect with ourselves then? Is what we are connecting with truly ourselves?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
definitely
so
not.
either. This is why it was so really empty in the beginning of the session, right? Because no, this isn't us. This is not us. Yeah. and Denise here, but Denise, you were a participant, you talking about feeling and expressing this openly, and you got the feedback that you often too harsh to yourself. Yeah, would you like to talk into the microphone what you perceived as guidance from your own true self here in this session as you actually connected deeper?
Yeah, I mean, it was intense, because all these layers came up, like you mentioned, like Gosha mentioned. And then finally, like, when I was at work and I was connecting with someone else, and this came up, like we were talking, and I just kept feeling in my heart, like hearing in my heart, authenticity, just be you, be me, like. So I was just natural. I was like, I'm a little tired, blah blah blah. And then finally, like we started talking about self-care and self-image, and I did mention something about my nose, like my nose is a little red. It's been red for about a year. And the feedback was like, well, sometimes we are just a little too harsh on ourselves and not to other people. And I was like, thank you for that, like, um, and then I drove to the park. I'm in the park, and then I just kept having these. Okay, well, I really don't know the way. I just kept feeling deeper and deeper into my true self. Um, and yeah, that's basically what came out for me. I'm like, yeah, I want to be softer with myself. It is myself, my own self image. My own identity that's harsh. On me. Like,
Yeah,
and it
but why
expresses
is that?
outward. Yeah.
I mean, it's really worthwhile contemplating about why this is. Because would it be the same if there was no others? I mean, if we were able to completely filter out what other people think about us or how they see us, would we still feel that way? I doubt that. In your case, Denise,
Yeah.
looking at your personal energy during the session, and this I saw this with 2 or 3 other people in the session. This had to do with what you expect from yourself as identifying as someone who's of service to others, of someone who wants to help and assist other people. And maybe this is exactly where the harshness comes from. I want to be softer, or like what I just heard when you spoke, apologizing yourself for being tired, right? Why do we feel like we have to apologize ourselves? Because we can't perform that well? But what are we
Yeah,
performing,
actually,
right?
there was a feeling like, well, I didn't want to say I'm tired, but I am just going to say because that's the truth, like,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And there was so
Hmm.
much softness, like on the feedback, and it was,
Uh-huh.
it was very beautiful, to my surprise, but I just open up to just being vulnerable and being like truth and all, like real, like, yeah. But that's the hard part for, like, I mean, I gotta admit this, this is,
Hmm.
I feel like this is where it plays, where true self comes in. It's okay. Like, I don't have to have the high expectation that I'm happy and bubbly and energized and playful all the time.
Exactly. Right. Because nobody is, right? Nobody is. And why, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of us create this illusion around who we are and what we do and how we are. And everybody does that. I mean, in energy work, and we call this false self. And everybody has this idea about how one is supposed to be. We all create this illusion about what it is like to be spiritual, or what it is like to be a healer or a helper or a caretaker, or a famous person, or a competent person, or whatever. Everybody produces this projection, okay? And so we
Yes, and
feel,
Jona, you shared something beautiful as well during the session, that like we get closer to our true self if we let go of thinking what others want from us.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, am I less of a healer when I'm tired? Or less of a caretaker? Do I stop being, when I have to go to the bathroom? I mean, just to loosen things up a little bit, right? I mean, we never stop being ourselves, right? The only thing that we actually criticize or where we actually get harsh with ourselves is when we can't keep up with whatever we think we need to be. Or yeah, like Julian, like you say, the expectations that we have of ourselves or we believe other people have of us, right? This is the problem, guys. This is where our connection with our true self, and not the true self as some mystical but concept, but really this feeling, this anchored feeling with I know who I am. And I wanted to call this session self-consciousness, not self-conscious, but having self-consciousness. This is me. And it has nothing to do with what I do. This has something to do with who I am and who I have become in this course of my life. And this emotional processing and a lot of this sort of illusion of aliveness that we want through emotionality and drama, even with ourselves. I mean, guys, I had times I felt I didn't feel more alive, or I didn't feel like alive if I wasn't in pain. Okay, and this has nothing to do with being ourselves, guys. This is a choice. Yeah, but I didn't know any better. My norm was pain, and when I experienced pain, be it emotional pain or spiritual pain or physical pain or mental pain, then I felt alive. I defined myself through pain. And obviously, or consequently, my life was filled with a lot of pain because that made me feel alive. That made me feel like, yeah, it sucked, but, I felt alive. And this is the deeper guidance that comes in when we actually take the time to go beyond all this, to connect deeper, and to really feel into our present moment awareness with ourselves. Who am I? Who have I become? Are all the emotions that we experience, are they who we are? All the thoughts and concepts that we have in our heads, is that what we are? The spiritual beliefs or our bodies? A red nose, does that make you a
No.
reindeer? Just because you have a red nose.
And the part is like I love reindeers, like but like but even
So
then
guys,
no.
this is the deeper aspect here of connecting with our true selves. This isn't just about getting blissed out and all that. I mean, we have sessions like that sometimes, but for the most part, it's really about taking the time and showing up for ourselves and really going into this deeper reflection with ourselves, not in regards to like becoming more effective as a true self or accomplishing something in regards to, like, I saw more visions, I saw more blue light, or more this or more that. Does this really define you? I mean, seriously, do you really become more true to yourself, because you see purple lights instead of blue lights? I mean, I'm not being sarcastic here. We all go through certain phases, and obviously the discernment and the differentiation of our energetic sensations and feelings and the visuals and all that is all part of exploring ourselves. But that's not what defines us, guys. That's not who we are. We are this person that is there, or not person, but we are this identity, okay, this individuated soul that is there, that is very unique, okay, with a very unique set of circumstances unique set of emotions and experiences and traumata sometimes, and aspirations and so forth. But what we accomplish or how well we perform or any of these notions, they do not define who we are. Because you know what? They do not change who we are. What changes? What can change how we see ourselves, how we feel ourselves? And I would love to open up the microphones, and we can do readings too, guys. So I'm going to open up all your microphones now. I just want you to control your own microphones real quick. So turn them off, but you are in control of them. So if you want to speak, just jump on live here. Just speak directly into it. What makes you you? Does anybody want to share? Also, of course, what have you discovered in this session? What happens when you really stand with yourself, regardless of, all the projections and expectations and everything? What happens there? How do you perceive yourself?
There's an opening. In my case, I feel the space and there's an opening. I feel grounded, like belonging, but there's not like a concept or an idea. It's just, I mean, if it makes any sense, it's just expansion, lovingness. So,
It's almost still, right? Still.
yes, yes.
Can I speak a
It's a
little bit?
stillness there.
Becky.
Yeah, hi, Becky.
Well, lovingness, definitely. Like what makes me, when I ask myself that question, is like if I reflect on my life, the one thing that I was always getting me going, so to say, is love, and searching for love and sharing love. And I searched for love first through partners, then through church, and I found it within myself. But love gives compassion, love gives everything.
That's a very beautiful way of saying this, what defines us. Yeah, so how do we go to bed at night? Do we go to bed with this harsh, like, oh, you didn't do this today, and oh, you got a red nose, and oh, look at you, you're getting old, or, or are we going to bed in a feeling of appreciation for everything that we could experience today, for the moments that we could be with ourselves and that we could bring our love into expression?
Yes.
That's what I noticed. This is Becky.
Mm-hmm.
When kind of getting out of the way and that opening Denise talked about, and there was this like feeling of amazement that was like, oh, so this is what it's like to be me. It's just I am, and yeah, it's just like that opening. I related to that a lot.
No, so this is a very good way of describing it. I mean, we all are struggling for words here because, this isn't something that we can normally discuss, or, unless you really dive deep into the philosophers, you don't actually even read about this, what this truly feels like. And so the solution is to to actually take the time and do it. And then something very unexpected happens. There is a phase where we get a bit overloaded with our mind, with our emotions for some time, and then there's an emptiness. And then all of a sudden, something opens up, right? And that is almost like, Yeah, you called it amazement, Becky. It's like a field of all possibilities, right? There's also a lot of freedom there all of a sudden, because we can literally choose who we want to be. But more on this like expression level, on this internal, like from inside out, how we feel from inside out, that never actually changes. We go within and we touch base with who we are, with this I am in us, and then it becomes quiet, it becomes peaceful, but also invigorating at the same time. So the the part here that I see as, you know, as an energy healer and looking at collective energies, is that this is exactly the part that we all don't do. Because if we did, we wouldn't have anxiety, we wouldn't have depression, we wouldn't have this enormous performance pressure with ourselves, and this emptiness, okay, that makes us seek everywhere else on the outside, but on the inside. Yeah, it's from inside out and not from outside in. But this is the part that we don't do. And because we are not in practice of that, because we don't train that, it feels uncomfortable at first, right? I mean, the first 15, 20 minutes of the session, they weren't exactly comfortable. I mean, the only thing we felt right off the bat was relief, right? There was a deep
Yes.
sort of a sigh, and I've arrived, right? When you were rushing to get to an appointment and you finally arrived, right? That was there. That felt you know, calming. But then immediately was all the other stuff that came up. Yeah. What comes next? What do I have to do next? What am I supposed to feel? Where is this supposed to? Oh, I'm supposed to read this invocation. Oh, can I read? Can I listen to the MP3 instead? Or do I have to listen to this? Can I listen to my? I mean, all these kind of questions, right? Yeah. So, and there was a lot of physical pressure that came out through this. So this is the nature of an energy session: is when you begin to feel physical things without any physical manipulation. So there's nothing going on with your body. You're actually in a relaxed state, and all of a sudden your body shows certain things. This can happen, of course, during a body work session as well. But there is more obvious, right? When an energy session, there is no physical manipulation, and yet you still feel a lot of things in your body. And this is what we need to start paying more attention to. You know, where do these things all get stored? Where does this all get recorded in us? Because when it comes to us really feeling ourselves, the first thing we'll feel is that. And that's why we all feel so uncomfortable with ourselves, and why we're so harsh with ourselves, because all we can feel is sort of the emotional junk from the past, and all the stuff that we've absorbed throughout the day, and you know, the parts of us that we don't like, or the parts of others that we don't like, and, you know, how we feel like inadequate or not good enough, right? This is the first layer to getting to your true self, guys. This is just like cleaning up your kitchen counter. Now, and then you're not sitting there and say, oh my God, my kitchen needs to be torn down and renovated because you got a few crumbles on your kitchen counter, or because you have dirty dishes in your sink. This needs to be cleaned up. This needs to be released, you know, in energy work, you know, and we need to ground ourselves. So for some of you guys in this session, the inner guidance here showed the need to ground yourself more. But for the majority of us, it showed letting go of expectations, and especially letting go of seeking something like perfect from somewhere, you know, outside of you know, validated through something from the outside. The cool thing was, though, that about the around the 25-minute mark, there was a huge shift. And if you didn't fall asleep by then, or if you didn't give up by then, you know, if you hung in there, you know, you could start to feel how all this uncomfortable having to deal with a little bit of the gunk, how that turned into peacefulness, you know, where there was no more conflict. And I think I think it was you, where you noted during the session that it felt like all the thoughts are being pulled into the heart. You know,
Yes,
so
yes.
there was less thinkingness after a while. Did you guys feel this too? Like at first I was very like sort of, oh, what I need to do and the next thing, and you know, like a lot of inner dialogue, and then it got a little quiet, and then it was almost difficult to think. I mean, I literally had to step outside because we are in this live session co-facilitating together on Skype. So I had to step outside for a moment because I really, really wanted to do the exercise with myself and just feel myself. And there's something happened. You felt that too. Oh, that's cool. Yes, Carol. I felt this too with you. And this is the part here, the peacefulness that comes in, you know, when you just stay long enough. With practice, it doesn't take that long, and we don't really have to go through a lot of you know, confliction, and especially when you have a lot of practice, then you also know what that is that you're going through. You know, it's just like literally releasing the gunk from the day. For you and your personal energy, it was really about first and foremost allowing this journey, your true self journey, to fully internalize. This is yours, okay? This is yours. This has to do with your soul purpose, and this has to do with your karma, and a lot of these things that have nothing to do with anybody else on this planet, okay? But the second part was that came with this, and maybe this is the reason why we often don't want to go into this deeper connection, taking self responsibility, you know, really being there for yourself and recognizing that nobody else is going to do this for you. Nobody's going to connect with that part of yours in the way that you can. And that's then basically how we not only learn to become sort of more self-supportive and self-responsible, but also how we begin to feel more adequate. Because the moment we step up for ourselves, be it in just showing up, or be it in, you know, then step by step starting to express this more authentically, the more consciousness we develop, and the more sort of security within ourselves that we can do it, that we can get through about anything. And then as a result, we often also let go of making others responsible for it. So that's what I saw in your energy field here during this session. Oh, 1000%. Well, that's cool. That's cool that you felt this too. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah. Sure, you felt this. You felt this also, the peacefulness, and then you fell asleep. And that's something, you know, I really want you guys to embrace. Okay, if you fall asleep during a meditation or a true self session, then let it be. Okay, then just tell yourself, if I needed the sleep, that's fine. For most of us who have this sort of high energy expectation from ourselves, and you know, live a 3D life with a lot of demands and push ourselves a lot, it's normal to fall asleep the moment we go into this place, because our bodies are simply not used to function in that state. Our bodies are used to going into this go, 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 do mode. And when we actually take the time to to be in the B mode, all right, our body doesn't know what to do, okay? And it equates it with sleeping, because that's the only times in our lives where we're not going, all right? This was the hardest thing for me to figure out. I've shared this on other occasions. I've had the hardest time with learning how to meditate. I mean, I knew how to meditate, I just couldn't meditate. So I knew the mechanics of it, but I just couldn't do it without falling asleep, until I realized that's because of how I treat my body, how I treat my life. I put myself under so much pressure that my body was literally, I mean, I would like go till the moment I'd go to bed, barely make it to brush my teeth and wash my face, and then just plop out. I just had two modes, on and off. And I had to learn how to fill this space of beingness up, how to be in this space. I had to literally practice this until one day I no longer fell asleep when I meditated. But a reason why this took so long for me, and guys, you can learn there from my mistakes, was because I was beating myself up for falling asleep. I felt like a loser. I'm like, oh my God, and all these people, they can all meditate, and why can't I do this? And I understand mind frequencies, and I understand all this, and blah, 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 but I can't do it. Well, it was the moment I let go of that it started to work for me, and the deeper connection began to become a life for me. So that's really important for us to feel, okay? To feel, not just to think it or to understand it and believe that that's enough. No, we have to show up for ourselves. We have to be there. And we have to prioritize our life accordingly. You know, if I sometimes joke with people when, when they tell me, oh, it's so hard to have this connection with my, whatever, with myself here. And I'm like, well, then imagine, your true self be your girlfriend or your boyfriend. How many times a week do you show up for your true self? Oh, once a month? Okay, cool. Do you think that if that was a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that they would feel appreciated by you, or that they would feel like you
That's a good
really want to
example.
connect with them? No, you wouldn't be able to hold a partner like that.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to really equate this here with a relationship, because that was also part of the session, to not do this, because that's one of the mistakes that we do, that we want to feel this connection from outside in, and then we try to feel whole or complete through the other. This is the other way here that we are discussing right now. But we got to understand that the true self is not a different entity in us, all right? Even though it's sometimes called inner divinity or higher self or whatever, that's just a matter of frequency, okay? This is always you, okay? But your perception shifts with the vibe that you are in, okay? And if you're in a low vibe, okay, you don't experience yourself as a higher self. You experience yourself as a, I don't want to put any names out here, but you guys all know what I'm referring to, right? How low this can go sometimes, how harsh we can be with ourselves. But if our vibes go up, then we experience ourselves not just as more adequate and more loving, and more lovable, but also as, like we exist more then. And it's important to understand that these states are always, they always exist, but it depends on our own perception, and our perception depends on where we're at energetically at a certain time. So one of the tools that I always point out here is to learn how to shift your energy, because when you feel that your inner dialogues and your the way you see yourself, your self-image, Denise, as you called that earlier, and how you talk to yourself is harsh and negative and not very loving, then don't beat yourself up over not being loving. Go into like, what can I do right now to shift my energy so that I can become more loving, and then your authentic self comes through The moment you let go of all the things that are holding you back. So it's like the sun and the clouds, you know. The true you, the true authentic you, your true self, your higher self is always there. It's like the sun. But just because it's nighttime or because it's a cloudy day doesn't mean the sun is gone. Just because you can't see it or you can't feel the warmth on your skin doesn't mean it's not there. Sometimes it means you have to wait. Sometimes it means you have to clean up a little. Sometimes, oftentimes, it means you have to actually show up. You have to actually show up for your true self so that you can feel it. And
Yeah,
that's why.
connect
Mhm.
deeper, right? Yeah, show up, connect.
So there's a reason why I've been doing these connect with your true self sessions for almost 10 years now, free every month, because it's such an important practice. It's the alpha and the omega, or the beginning and the end of your journey. You know, you have to literally show up. It's very similar to physical exercise. You know, you can think your way into, I know, losing weight, or having a more healthier nutrition, or uh, you can spend months in trying to figure out what exercises you got to do, but until you do it, okay, it is not true. All right, it's the same with, you know, being in this deeper connection and feeling our own beingness through, you know, showing up for our true self. It's not anything different than we are, but because of the conditions that we live in, where everybody projects and everybody basically rolls this big false self in front of them, okay, we forget who we are. We start believing in this false self world because everybody pretends. I mean, you know, I was thinking the same thing, Denise, today, earlier before the session started. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. You know, what does this mean? Like, you know, then I'm now less of a true self because I'm tired? No, you know, I'm always a true self. And this is the part here, you know, where some of us try to bail out with ourselves. You know, we have all these rationalizations and justifications why we can't show up. Well, I mean, you can always show up. The easiest way to show up for yourself is to stop the doingness and just have that, you know, momentary awareness that right now I'm existing. And I suggest that people do this through their breath, like most other spiritual practices do, because you always have to breathe. You know, but there are some other practices that I suggest to, you know, to check in with yourself and know that you exist. For instance, squeezing your butt cheeks, or, you know, touching yourself, you know, like just literally like touching your hands, you know, or you know, it's about this feedback with yourself that you show up in the moment, you know, and whatever the breathing technique or the exercises that you do with it. But it's not important to wear red socks and sit in a certain position and you know, do this in a certain way, or listen to this invocation, or listen to this music or not. Those are all just tools that are supposed to make it easier for you, but they're not needed. The fastest way to connect with yourself is, of course, through the choice that you make internally. And that is, I want to feel myself right now. Okay. Breathing, meditating, all those things are tools. If it's hard for you, and if you've, you know, kind of agreed to a life where your daily routines do not allow you to do this, then it's time to reprioritize. Then it's time to add that to your list of things that you truly need, not your list of chores. Showing up for your true self, being with yourself, is not a chore, guys. That's the foundation, the core of everything. Whether it's, you know, 15 or 20 or 30 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes in the evening, if your life has, you know, developed in a direction where you don't even think about doing that, you know, you don't just have the justification that you can't, you also, you know, forget that there is a sun, that there is a light in you, then the best way to feel this again is to go into nature, because nature is such a high vibratory resonance that it, you know, brings it to you, you know, just through looking at a sunset, or, you know, being in the forest, or sitting in grass, or brushing a dog's hair, petting them, playing with a cat. You know, there's a reason why marketing uses puppy love and all these kitty videos, you know, to make us feel good about ourselves. Okay, because it does connect us with ourselves. So the point being here that we have many different ways to think that we are ourselves, but there really is only one way of telling what this authentic, true self-consciousness feels like in us. And that is through taking the time to actually feel it. Because it's different for each and every one of us. But I like what Gosha shared here, that you found out about yourself, because this is what it comes down to for all of us in the end, that the substance, if you could call it this way, that you are made of and that you identify as your true self feels like love. And here, just you know, for terminology's sakes, love, light, truth are all resonances that are quite basically different shapes, different descriptions of the same thing, of our higher self. All right, so if for one it's love, for the other one it's light, for the other one it's truth, but ultimately all that belongs together into the same category, because they all show us the way to our higher self, to our true self, and they ultimately then connect us with the purpose and why we came here, to inner peace and inner wholeness. Which does not mean that we don't need other people. That's not what this means, because there's another layer that comes after that, and that is then to bring this out into the world and help others, assist others in feeling that too. And of course also, you know, with family and relationships and so forth, wonderful opportunities, wonderful sandboxes to practice all of this. But the main purpose why we're here is to feel this deeper connection with ourselves, the actual feeling of it, because that's where the inner guidance, where inner trust, adequacy, fulfillment, happiness, joy, and healing and abundance, that's where that comes from. So connecting with our true selves is not just some nice concept or something that we do once a month. It is something that we hope to motivate you to do, you know, as many times as you can with yourself. When you come here, not a lot of you have taken advantage of this here today, but when you come here, you actually have a bunch of energy healers sitting on the other end of this remote energy session, reading out your field that can give you feedback. Not how good you are in being your true self. Only your own true self can determine that. You are the only authority in knowing who you truly are. Nobody else can tell you who you are, or what your feelings are, or what your reality is. But it can help sometimes to have someone there who's impartial, who, you know, doesn't even know you, okay, who reflects on your energy, that can maybe give you the missing clues or puzzle pieces to better connect with yourself, to feel more abundant, to appreciate your own inner you more, and obviously also to show you ways to do this, more often or effectively, or to motivate you to do that. Any questions from you guys? Thank you, Carol, for your gratitude. Gosha, Abigail, Becky, Julian, Annette, Cindy, and Amanda, thank you so much for co-facilitating this session. This was almost like 60 participants here, so we haven't really heard a lot from you. I did see a lot of your comments down here, and I want to thank you for showing up. And if you're listening to the recording here, then thank you for coming to the True Self session. This recording will be sent to all of you in email form, and I'm also going to post it in the forum for you to listen or to share. All right, tell your friends, make True Self parties,
Yes.
seriously, this is something that is supposed to be a really beautiful experience, even if you go through some housekeeping at first. Okay, that's all right. But if you never do the housekeeping, the walls around your heart get so thick and so hard that it almost becomes impossible to feel it. So go out there, guys, look at the sunset, or look at your dog or your neighbor's dog, or your children, or a beautiful flower or a tree or whatever you can identify, a waterfall, as something that can reconnect you with your true self. It is normal to several times a day to having to kind of bring this awareness, this present moment awareness, back to our lives, because the way the world is set up right now, it does not promote this inner connection. Okay, so don't beat yourself up if you forget your inner light. Then just surround yourselves with things that reconnect you as many times as possible every day. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming.
You.
If you
Yes,
need
thank you,
more
everyone.
guidance, come to our the website, check out the programs that we have, and maybe request a free energy coaching session. Thank you, Gosha, for sharing, and Abigail and Becky for coming here, and Cindy.
Thank you, Jona. Thank you,
So
everyone.
next month we have this True Self session again, like every month, right around the same time. I have not determined the date yet. See you next month, guys. Bye-bye.